Hey everyone, Connie here with a little disclaimer before we start the video. I recorded the reaction and redirect and everything here for Carole on Tuesday prior to making the decision and fully coming to, solidify it as happening, with Wednesday and Friday's schedule being switched. So when I recorded this, I say multiple times in the video, you're seeing this on Wednesday and stuff. That's not the case, obviously. That was the original plan when I was recording it, but things changed. With Carole on Tuesday, now on Fridays, just due to working out better with the show's release date, that means that this coming Friday we'll already be having an episode of Carole on Tuesday anyway. So I decided to have this one from last week, technically, because it came out last Thursday. I decided to have this one just air today. I'm just going to post it today and get everything done with that then. So even though I'm saying like, oh, you're seeing this Wednesday, obviously you're not. You're seeing this today on Monday. I apologize for any confusion. Enjoy the video.
Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Carole and Tuesday, episode 12. So you're still seeing this on Wednesday, but I'm recording this on Monday, and you may be wondering at now that I've said that, why? Well, over this past weekend, well, specifically yesterday, a friend contacted me, and she told me that she knows I do the reactions and everything. She told me before I record anything else tomorrow, which today, Monday, that I need to record my reaction to the newest episode of Carole on Tuesday. Now, Carole on Tuesday comes out, I think, on Wednesdays, so it comes out it comes out on Thursdays, like a day after I actually put up reactions. So it's like this one has been out since this past Thursday. She had just seen it yesterday. Again, Sunday. Have to reiterate that because you're still seeing this on Wednesday. But yeah, she told me that before I get to recording anything else today, I need to get to this. Even before I get to the Rainbow Road Trip thing, I need to do this. And she said something that I kind of consider a spoiler, which I've already talked to her about that now, but she said one other thing. It's not like a big like plot element or anything specifically. It's just she said, "This is the one." And she knows exactly what that means for me. She knows that that the phrasing of that, she knows exactly how I'm going to take that and what that kind of like term in terms of a show means. For those of you who might not know, when I would refer to the one in terms of an episode of a show, it means it's the episode that elevates the show, that makes it a true classic in my eyes, and in some cases solidifies it as my favorite series. You might remember my My Hero Academia reaction to the episode where All Might and All for One are fighting and all, and All Might uses the United States of Smash, and how that was the episode that made My Hero Academia my favorite anime of all time, beating out Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And all shows have that kind of thing. All shows for me have had that. I've talked about it even with Doctor Who, how Doctor Who has that episode that solidifies the new actor as the Doctor for me. Sure, but there's also episodes in Doctor Who that solidifies the show for me. Episodes that are just that damn good, you know? And heck, I mean, you could technically say the Christopher Eccleston episodes, that were the ones that solidified him as the Doctor for me, were also the ones that solidified the series for me. Because I didn't begin with the classic Doctor Who. I did begin with Christopher Eccleston. Or technically I began with Blink from the David Tennant era, because that I saw that before anything else. But then I went back and watched it from the beginning and all. So, but the point is, yeah, the one is like for me is referential to the episode of the show that elevates the show to a whole new level. That even if I loved the show before, really just sells it in every way and makes it, like I said, it could even make it one of my favorite shows of all time and solidify it as such. And of course, anything can happen even after that. The show could go downhill. The show could have issues here and there that could lower its ranking, I guess you could say, a little bit. But usually, if that kind of episode to that degree comes along, it usually is a sign that the rest of the series, even if it does have a few bumps here and there, will be that damn good. And so the fact that she is telling me that this episode, episode 12, just about halfway through the series, is the one, I kind of consider it a spoiler because, you know, it kind of tells me that this is the episode I've basically been waiting for. The episode that's going to solidify this much more, like, cleanly as one of my favorite anime of all time. I've already said how this show is definitely rising up there, and if it continues in its quality, could easily be in my top 3 or top 5 or whatever. But there's never really been anything solid, because it could go either way. But again, this could solidify that. This could actually give it that kind of, like, moment or whatever that really nails it in for me. Now, I don't know what's going to happen in this episode at all. I don't know any actual content of the episode, so I'm still completely spoiler-free on that. All I know is from what happened last time. So Tuesday was essentially kidnapped, but not kind of, because it's her mother still. At the very end, still during the Mars Brightest competition. So after Tuesday had gotten her hand burned by Sibel's gift. I fucking hate Sibel. She did her best to sing during the next stage of the competition, and they were able to go on kind of by luck. I mean, their performance was still good, but it definitely wasn't their best. And with Tuesday not able to play the guitar because of her burned hand, yeah, it just caused some problems. But we found out that her hand would be better in time for the next stage of the competition. However, basically right at the end, right after we find that out, some goons sent by her mother, Valerie Simmons, come and take her away by force. And I kind of say it's like kidnapping, but not, because it's, again, it's her mother. And she is 17. She's technically still a minor. Technically, her mother has a right to have her be brought back to the house. But at the same time, the way it was handled, the very forceful way, felt very kidnapping-like, just in terms of how it looked. And on top of that, it's just extremely uncomfortable to know that her mother would have them be willing to do that if necessary. Now, Valerie is a character we don't know a whole lot about yet. All we know about her is she's running for office, and she seems to take that very seriously. She doesn't want anything impeding on that. And we've also seen that she kind of seems to stifle Tuesday's creativity and passion, which is why Tuesday ran away in the first place. And she sent her son, Tuesday's brother, to find her, but he decided to just let her go because he's actually pretty cool. But we don't know much else about her. like, how bad is she going to end up being? Is she going to be on the level of, like, Weiss's father, Jacques Schnee from Ruby? Is she going to be even worse than that? Is she going to be not as bad? Maybe she's actually willing to listen to reason, and maybe Carole and Gus and all of them, Roddy, will be able to talk her into letting Tuesday finish the competition at least. um, but yeah, at the very end, we see them driving away. Carole's tearfully chasing after, trying to rescue Tuesday, and we see Roddy and Gus come out and everything, and it's like it really left on a hard-hitting note. And because here's the thing, like nothing has been like directly confirmed or said, but there's a lot of hints that Carole and Tuesday do love each other. I mean, just in terms of out of the show's like specific episodes and stuff. I mean, the series is a romance series. It is listed officially as a romance series, and I for some reason doubt that either of them are going to get together with Roddy. And there's no one else really in the series that would make sense. So it's like, it's got to be between Carole and Tuesday. Plus, there's a lot of hints everywhere. Everywhere. I mean, there's just so many moments that paint the two as a couple. And everybody who's watching, everybody who's been watching these episodes has been saying so. Like, hell, the entire moment before their first public performance at that little, I guess you could call it a bar, when Carole's putting the lipstick on Tuesday. Everyone pointed out how the way that scene was shot was very telling, how it was coding them as a couple. And I agree. And there's many other instances. You have to look at how the scenes are shot. You have to look at the way things are said. There's a lot to analyze about that. And I mean, it's just obvious that that's kind of where it's going. That's clearly what's being set up. But I like that they're doing a slow burn. They're making it realistic. Right now, Carole and Tuesday may have a thing for each other, but they're still just friends at the moment. And I like that because it allows it to feel more natural. They don't just get together right away. So I'm hoping, though, that there's, in this episode with Carole clearly wanting to go after Tuesday, which I definitely think is going to happen to some degree, I want to see something that definitely even further cements that idea. Even if it, again, doesn't directly say anything. Like, even if Carole doesn't directly say, I love her or anything. I want to see something that will, again, push forward the idea and give that slow burn romance still. Because I don't honestly expect them to actually get together until at least 3/4 of the way through. So we've still got like another half of the second half to get through. I don't want them to get together at the very end because I think that's super cliche and just it would feel like too many other shows. And Carole Tuesday's not like many other shows, so I hope they don't do that. But even if they do, as long as they do it well, I guess. But yeah, either way, I'm hoping that my friend is right. I'm hoping that this is the one. And even if it's not as great as that, even if it's just a great episode nonetheless, I'll be happy because this series has been phenomenal. And I can't wait to see where they go next. I can't wait to see how these characters continue to grow and develop, and especially in regards to Tuesday and her family, because that has been a thing since the very first episode. So I do want to see where they take that. But we're just going to begin. And by the way, the reason I'm out here in the living room is simply because I was already out here, my cords and stuff are already out here. I just didn't want to move everything into the room. I'm working on getting my old laptop. I'm gonna get all of that set up. I'm gonna make it so everything is gonna be good for that, and then I'll just probably try to record on that in my bedroom, so I won't have to worry about taking everything back and forth. but I can't guarantee that either. Um, I'm just I talked about before, like before I even moved, that was gonna be a possible plan. Um, so we'll see how that goes. We'll see what happens. But in the meantime, let's just get this started. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. I'm going to move that over. So, my friend Harley told me that this was the one. That this is the episode. That it's the one to make this show. More than just a great show. These first 12 episodes were all one long arc. It was the beginning. Carole and Tuesday meeting and getting their footing. They played together in these 6 months. They fell in love with each other. It's super obvious now. Again, even though they didn't slap it into our face, even though they didn't like directly say the word love, it's the context of the words they did use, of the just the way they spoke about each other. The fact that in all of this, the only thing that they cared about when they were separated was each other. Like, yeah, you could connect that to friendship to a degree, sure, but this is more, and it's very clear. All the signs, all of the hints, all of the phrasing and scene direction throughout this series have been hinting at, and this episode, I think, really confirmed it. Again, without directly saying it, but they'll get to that later in the series, I'm sure. The time separated between them allowed them to realize this as well. And when they finally got back together and got back to the stadium, they pleaded, even if we're disqualified, we'll accept that. We just want to perform. And Angela spoke up for them. Angela even asked the judges, let them perform. Because at this point, Angela has acknowledged their talent. And hell, I think she even is jealous of them to a degree. I think she wants to have the same passion, emotion, and just real feeling to her music as they do. When she said in this episode she wanted to win, but only by beating them. Only by truly earning it. That, I think, proved that Angela is growing as a character. Because at the beginning, Angela admittedly was a little bit of the stuck-up, snobby celebrity girl. This has kind of been her entire thing, her entire life. And through this competition, through Carole and Tuesday, she's been able to grow. Hell, her music in this competition, which, as we know, was created by the AI from the her real emotions and feelings and everything, the inflections in her voice, all of that. That proves how much she's been growing and having self-reflective thoughts. And it's amazing. And the fact that Spencer helped Tuesday escape was awesome. Because it fully solidifies his character from what we saw earlier in the series when he just let her go by leaving the club and everything. despite what he was there to do. Yeah, we definitely have the confirmation in this episode that Spencer is just a really cool, awesome person. And I hope Gus and Roddy are able to be uh, gotten out of jail soon. I don't think it's like a big sentence. Like I don't think they would be there for years. Probably like maybe a month at most. But still, we don't want them to be stuck in jail. And in the end, even though Angela did win the competition, the judges bent the rules a little and allowed Carole Tuesday to debut as well. Angela is officially the winner, but they're both going to debut. And that's great. Like I was saying, I would be fine with Angela winning as long as they worked it properly into the narrative and made it make sense. And I also said, of course, I would be fine with Carole Tuesday winning as long as they made it work. And I think this was one of the best ways to do it. By having Carole and Tuesday prove themselves on that stage with, honestly, one of the most popular songs from the series so far. Like, the song that literally started it all. By having them perform that and by having them move the judges, even Erdogan, to tears, that means something. And as such, the fact that they both get to debut, it works. It's fine. It's okay. So I'm all good with that. In fact, I'm happy for it. I think it's a good decision. The problem still remains about Valerie, though, because even though Spencer helped out, Valerie's still not going to be as accepting. She's probably going to continue to try to get Tuesday back. But I don't think they're going to pull the same thing again. It definitely doesn't seem like the kind of show that would pull the same plot line 2 times in a row. So I don't think Valerie's going to have Tuesday kidnapped and brought back to the house again. Valerie might confront her directly, or something else might happen. But at this point, I think it's going to continue more as normal. And if they do for some reason try to repeat the same plot point, I really hope they at least do it well. Now, for these afterthoughts, I've been kind of skating around the issue, or the not issue, it's not really an issue. I've been skating around the question that was posed because of what Harley had said. Was this episode the one? Did this episode take this already great show and elevate it to something amazing, to something breathtaking, to something absolutely stunning and beautiful? I would say yes. This was the one. Not only because it kind of confirmed these first 12 episodes as one long story arc, but because it felt like everything prior to this in this series has been leading up to this episode. All of the build-up, all of the everything that hinted at Carole and Tuesday's possible romance kind of confirmed here. Everything that we've seen them get up to, all the interactions, all of the struggles they've had, everything even just throughout this competition, all like converged in this episode. And everything came to a head. Even the stuff with Tuesday's family. this felt like it was the end game for this arc. Like everything had been carefully, meticulously set up to reach this point. And you know the last series that did this, I feel? The last series that did this, where it had a point in the series that it felt like everything had, at that point, worked up to. The last series that I watched. The last series where the moment, the episode, the one, felt like everything had been leading up to this point, and like everything prior to it had been one long arc, even if it wasn't technically, was My Hero Academia. With that episode, All Might versus All for One, with the United States of Smash, and with All Might leaving the future in Izuku's hands, everything felt like that was one long character arc. Izuku's beginnings, and everything from that point forward would be where he goes from there to take over as the new symbol of peace. And the last time this happened, My Hero Academia surpassed Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood as my favorite show of all time, my favorite anime of all time, specifically. Not my favorite show of all time, that's still Legend Korra, but it surpassed Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood as my favorite anime of all time, which had held the title for years before that. And while Carole on Tuesday didn't quite hit hard enough to take over My Hero Academia and everything, I would say that the pure emotion and joy I got from this episode, the tears it elicited, the way that this series, just up to this point even, has hooked me in so much that I use my computer desktop background as Carole on Tuesday. The fact that I constantly lose my shit about it on social media. The fact that I rewatch episodes and scenes over and over again just to see these two girls perform. I think that means something. It's not as action-packed or as deep as Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood or My Hero Academia. But it doesn't need to be. It's real. It's relatable. It's intense in different ways. It's emotionally draining in the best possible way. It makes you fall in love with these characters in ways that few shows ever have been able to do. It makes you really care about what happens to them. And when something bad happens, like when the box explodes and Tuesday's hand is burnt, your heart stops. You unintentionally start holding your breath out of fear because of just how intense that moment was. Because of how much you realize that these characters mean to you. And while it didn't hit as hard as that episode of My Hero Academia, it was definitely a close runner-up. And I think, at least as of now, that's how I would describe Carole Tuesday. In terms of my anime favorites, it's a close runner-up. It's number 2. As of now, it's my second favorite anime of all time, beating out Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, beating out Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. And it very, very easily could surpass My Hero Academia. But we have to see where it goes from here. We have to see what more they do. We have to see how they handle this series into its next big arc. Its next big moments. People praise Shinichiro Watanabe as one of the greats in anime direction. His work on Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, Space Dandy. And even though none of those shows ever really reached top level for me, or even close, really, I always respected the direction that he put into it. But I think, at least for me, this is his best work. This far surpasses, for me, the likes of Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, Terror in Resonance, and Space Dandy. And I haven't seen Kids on the Slope yet, so I can't say about that one. I care about the characters more. I care about the story more. More than anything, that's what this show has done. It's made me care about everything it has to offer and everything that it could in the future. When a show defies expectations, not just surpasses them, defies, openly defies all expectations you have for it. When a show hooks you in just from the trailer alone, but then the actual series ends up being better than you could have ever imagined. When a series makes you fall in love with its characters, you know you have something special. You know that this is more than just a cartoon made in Japan. You know that this is more than just a piece of media, or even more than just a piece of art. That this is something special. Something that hits me on a personal level. Tuesday's family situation was very reminiscent of Weiss's in RWBY. And I've talked about in the past how Weiss's living situation with her father and everything, and with Klein, that's the name of the butler, by the way, voiced by J. Michael Tatum, how Weiss's living situation, while definitely much more extreme, kind of mirrors my own. A parent who is non-supportive and is trying to basically rule your life and determine where you go and what you do and everything like that. A certain member of your family who is the complete opposite and has helped you get out of that situation from time to time and shown support when you needed it. I have that stuff. I face that stuff. And I'm lucky that just like Weiss and just like Tuesday, I have more than just that one support in my family. I have a lot of friends who care about me. I have friends who help me get out of that situation and allow me to be myself and be proud of who I am. And that when I'm with those kinds of people, that's when I'm truly alive. That's when I'm truly me. And that's why the show, that's why this episode allowed it to reach my number 2 status. Because it meant something to me. Because I connected with it. Because more than ever, it made me love this show. I fell in love with it all over again. I fell in love with these characters all over again. And it's only 12 episodes in. We've still got a ways to go. I don't think that this show might have a couple bumps, but I don't think it's going to fall. I don't think it's going to have any moment where it loses what makes it special. With the voice cast, the director, the producers, everyone who's working on this is showing an insane amount of passion. That they show that they care about what they're putting out with this. And it's ironic. Well, not really ironic, but kind of funny. That with this becoming my second favorite anime of all time, my top 3 favorite anime are all now Studio Bones. My Hero Academia, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, and this. All 3 of them are Studio Bones. I think that also has a lot to say about the studio, about the anime they put out. So I'm sorry these afterthoughts have been so long, but I needed to talk about this. Not just because it reached my number 2 spot, but because of how much it meant to me. Because how it was personal to me. This show is just that important to me at this point. And I love it. And again, it could very easily take over the number 1 spot if it continues down this path. And even if it does have some pitfalls, I think the worst it'll do is go down to number 3. I think it's pretty much solidified in my top 3 at this point. More so than ever. I see why Harley told me to react to this right away. I see why she said it was the one. I agree. But tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of Carole and Tuesday. And thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,